Yeah, he was real freaked out by that whole thing.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
Oh, no way. Oh my God. No way. Oh my God.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 121 of 1 million of the Serial Chillers podcast. As always, I ask, how goes it? Hello, Greg.
I'm just hanging out, dude.
Just hanging out, doing weird stuff with the eyebrows.
Yeah, eyebrows.
Sneaky. Anything going on? Anything special, man? Just
No, man, just hanging out. Just doing
good
the
to have
damn
you
thing.
back.
Yeah.
Good to have you back.
Good to be here.
In the canon of things.
Yeah.
You weren't here last episode.
That is true, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a long time ago.
That's what I was just thinking. That felt like it was about a month ago.
Yeah.
That was 7 days ago.
We've been doing a lot of episodes.
Woo! This is small. Okay, I'm here with John and Courtney. Say hello to them really quickly, and we'll get more of them in a little bit. But first, let me explain the show for anybody that doesn't know how to work.
Deep breath.
It's just so small.
Come on, you were doing it blind 2 weeks
I
ago.
know. Most of you know how the show works. Let me explain it for anybody that doesn't. Each week I sit down with old friends, new friends, good friends, and bad friends to tell them the story of an infamous serial killer, something true crime, dark, creepy, unsolved, or otherwise mysterious. If something isn't clear, be sure to chime in, because if you have questions about questions, be sure to ask questions, because I cannot answer questions about questions if you never ask questions. Are there any questions?
Nope.
Makes sense. No.
Then welcome to and let's play the Serial Chillers podcast. Just going to let everybody at home know, if the episode seems a little chopped up, that's not Greg's fault. That's because I had computer issues and I'm reading off my phone today. If you're watching, you know that. This ain't easy, and these aren't young eyes. I'm telling you, man. I was like, I got this. And then all of a sudden I'm starting to read. I'm like, buddy,
When you make it,
these are small.
when you make it big enough to actually see, you only get like one word per line.
Well, the problem is, too, when you do that, it has left and right movement.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so you don't get enough.
It fucks me up. So I just got to like, hey, we're out here.
We're making it happen.
Just out here.
As I stand on the precipice of death. Okay, guys. Today's killer. Tell me, have you heard of Rodney Alcala? Or some people say Alcala. But I'm going Alcala.
Really?
Vaguely, but I don't remember much.
People say
Not at
Alcala?
all.
Yeah. People say Alcala.
Hate it.
Alcala.
Hey, here's the thing: is it doesn't give you a disadvantage.
It honestly doesn't.
And the winner gets nothing. So it's really great. It's really great.
nothing.
So
A whole nothing.
Yeah.
All to yourself.
Yep. I was gonna say I'll give you a hug or something, but I'll give the other person a hug too. I'm just a hugger. Everybody's getting
Gotta
one.
share.
Everybody's getting one. All right. So with that, question number 1: in what year was Rodney Alcala born? I'm just gonna say Alcala now.
What did I ever do to deserve that?
Closest to the answer gets 250 points, 1,000 points if you can nail it. It's just you write it down.
68. Oh, sorry.
You tell.
Write it
Whoa.
down.
Write it down right now.
Gosh.
He's excited to be here.
Ready to go.
Excited to be here. Feel free to use as many of these fucking wonderful colors as we have.
They are
Sharpie,
delightful.
give us free stuff.
Send us free Sharpies.
Hey, Kristen, where are you at? Look, we use your mug. All right. You guys got your good stuff?
What'd you write?
Okay. In what year was Rodney Alcala born? John said 1968. Courtney
Went
said
58.
58. Give
Ooh.
Courtney 250 points.
Hey.
Fuck yeah.
Because Rodney Alcala was born in 1943.
Boop, boop. All right.
Woo! Now we'll move into some full guest intros. We do this Jeopardy style now. We ask a question, then we introduce our guests. And as the champion of the first question, Courtney, we say hello.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We love Courtney and John a lot. for reasons other than the fact that they filled in very last minute for this episode. But I appreciate you guys being here and doing that, and just appreciate you being here in general. John, what's up, dude?
What's going on?
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Some of you guys might remember, John. We don't do faces, so and Greg and I were talking about it. We couldn't remember how early you were on because it was pretty early.
Yeah.
was a while
And the
ago.
first 15 episodes don't exist anymore. Like they were bad. They were bad. So we got rid of them. So we were like, John may not.
You were scrubbed.
You may have been part of the initial wipe, but you're back now.
Mm-hmm.
You're here.
Here.
So let me ask you this. I ask this to every couple that comes on. Is there a divorce in the works? If a separation, if somebody arises as a badass champion,
There was one person who wound up homeless as a result of this. So
Bummer.
I mean,
we
he
just want
lost.
to make sure the prenup gets signed before we get started. We don't want to be responsible for.
See, the
any-
way that this works is this is a team.
Team.
So
I
if
like
I
that.
win, she wins, and if she wins, I win.
you guys, no matter what, someone's winning
So
tonight.
you guys are
winning.
splitting the prize.
You guys-
yeah, for sure.
Hey,
of nothing.
listen,
The
this
prize
is
of
a very
nothing.
expensive prize, and you're not allowed to split it. You guys have to leave. Greg, pack it up.
We're done.
Done.
We're done here.
You mean you're cooperating and have a healthy relationship?
Love
No. Get out of here. I don't need to just be sitting here all
We don't do
jealous for
that.
the rest of the night. All right, guys, welcome. Let's play a little bit of the game. We've got 14 questions, 13 remaining, so plenty of time, John. Don't worry.
I'll get there. I'll get in
Tracking
the
her
groove.
down. Let me give you a few of the reference works for the show really quick, and then we'll jump into actually, real quick. All the social medias, everything is on serialchillerspod.com. Check it out there if you'd like. The main thing for us right now and lately has been Patreon. If you guys want to join the Patreon, it helps us out huge, especially now that we're in an office. It helps you out too because every level of Patreon gives you something. Even the $1 level, entry level is $1. We'll say your name on the show. I'll fucking do it too. I'll do it.
I've seen him do it.
He's seen me mess him up too. Also, no, it's super helpful. If you get $5, you get the show one day early every week. Greg works hard to get that up a day early for all of you. It is audio only during the early episodes, but it's super helpful.
So
And-
what you can do is listen to it one day early, and then when the show comes out on Friday at midnight, you can play along on YouTube and just dominate.
that's true. Or you could do what Eddie does and give the
No context spoilers.
no context spoilers.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
I miss those, Eddie. Bring them back.
Do it.
Yeah, so thank you guys for checking out all the social media stuff. But like really, like again, we're not ever begging for the money. But if you guys like the show, you want to get a little bit something back from us. Like I said,
no legs.
damn, is that a kids reference?
That
Up
is a
top?
kid's reference.
Woo! Butterscotch. So if you want to help out, again, everything, that's what's great about the Patreon is there's some type of return at every level. And once you start getting into like, I think 30 and more, there's merchandise coming down. There's stickers. I mean, $5 levels have stickers, but I mean,
For the right price, I even leave the house and will accompany you to Disney.
that's what I was gonna say. You do the
Wow.
$10,000 level, we'll take you to Disneyland. So how about that? Yeah, join the Discord if you want to hang out with the community. If you want to mail us something cool, P.O. Box 1229, Clovis, California 93613. Remember, if it is of a danger level above 7.5, attention.
Oh, it's gone
hella Greg. Was it only 7 before?
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, 7.5. I'm living life dangerously these days.
La
I was just
vida
talking
loca.
about assisted suicide. So what, might as well throw the danger level up a little bit. So for everything Serial Chillers, guys, serialchillerspod.com has the links. And then really quickly, all the reference works for today. We use Rodney Alcala's Wikipedia page. Dating Death, a documentary by Sky TV on the Doc Club channel on Amazon. If you guys have Amazon Prime
Love.
and you like documentaries, they have an added channel called the Doc Club. It's only $2 a month, and it's
Really?
all documentaries and mostly crime documentaries.
Really?
Very good. Yep.
Because I fucking love documentaries.
$1.99. It's
Yeah,
called the Doc.
documentaries are the best.
It's called the Doc Club, and it's literally
some are.
Yeah, some are. It's only documentaries, and like I said, it's mostly crime.
Name
but there's
one
a
that's
lot of
not.
other shit too.
Challenge.
Challenge.
True. He'll think of one. No, he won't.
Give me one,
It's
give me
pretty
one.
good.
Okay, one that's not good.
Yes.
Conspiracy theories on Netflix.
Didn't you reference that for your episode last week?
Yeah.
2 books we used were The Killing Game and You, the Jury. The Killing Game was written by Alan Warren, and You, the Jury was written by Rodney Alcala. An article from thoughtco.com and biography.com. So,
I like that he wrote a book called You the Jury.
yeah, he's a fucking prick, asshole, piece of shit.
No, I like the fact that he did that. He was like, you know what? You decide what I did.
I thought about not like putting like I did for Berkowitz. I
Yeah.
wouldn't give his website out. I was
Like
like, fuck
promoting
that
his own-
guy. Yeah,
yeah.
fuck him.
Yeah.
You go find it if you want. But fuck
well,
him.
it's not like
Yeah.
he can't make any money off of the book anyway.
I
so.
plagiarized the fuck out of that bitch, and I'm not giving him any credit for it. But he did like an actual book. He didn't just put something on the internet, so I'll give him enough credit for that. So we talked about it. Raul Alcala Bucor and Ana Maria Gutierrez welcomed their son Rodrigo Jacques Alcala Bucor into the world August 23rd, 1943 in San Antonio, Texas.
What a fucking name.
Right? You want that again? Because I'm sure I
That's a lot of
mispronounced
names.
plenty of it. Rodrigo Jacques Alcala Bucor. Buqour. UOR. Bucor.
It's very Spanish name.
And I'm assuming it's Jacques. Jacques. Jacques.
Yeah.
Jacques.
Yeah. Okay. Raul was the eldest child and Marie was the youngest child. So he's the middle of 3 children. When Alcala was a young child, his parents got divorced and his mother relocated the family to Los Angeles. So from San Antonio to Los Angeles, they moved to LA, bright lights, big city. Question number 2. In order to get her son involved in something, she signed him up for an activity. Which? Was it A, baseball, B, ballet, C, wrestling, or D, gymnastics? Baseball, ballet, wrestling, or gymnastics.
And what year was this?
So he was young. So I'm going to go with under 10, so probably early 50s.
Okay, that's fine.
Early to mid 50s. Yep. Okay, what'd you say, Courtney?
Baseball.
Baseball.
I also went A.
John said baseball. In the hopes that he would become a professional dancer, Alcala's mother enrolled him in ballet classes.
Ballet.
It's pronounced ballot.
Well, my bad. So no points for anybody on that one.
Womp womp.
But yeah, so we've got a young ballet dancer in our midst in Rodney Alcala.
That's a sound we need. Is the
Womp womp.
the bum 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 bum.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can we get the yodeler while we're at it? Yodel, yodel.
What was that? Price is Right?
Yeah.
We got some rapid fire questions to start it off. So we got a young ballet dancer, moved from San Antonio to LA. His father was in the military. So before the divorce, his dad was strict. There are rumors, I think I mentioned it in here, possibly of a little bit of abuse. I think, right, like, I'm not, look, okay. Early 50s, was it abuse then?
I mean, not by their standards, but also like
Like, sexual abuse is not open. I'm not saying
is
that
that
it was sexual. No.
Oh, okay.
The allegations are that he was abusive. So is it like,
was
it just a higher level? Did you have to like be out in the front lawn, like pounding your kid's face in?
I think
well,
the
he's
level
being
of
a little
abuse. Yeah.
when
If it's public or private.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's
when
true.
was it the allegation made?
Much later. Like,
Then
yeah.
Yeah, then the standards. would
Yeah, I
change.
mean, it could have been like,
They're
stern
like looking
spankings and a
back
belt.
going like, oh, fuck, actually, I was abused.
Yeah, like
yeah.
it could have been, stern spankings and a belt or whatever, which was the style at the time.
Yeah.
Versus
That's how you raise kids.
Yeah, and then because I mean, we got spanked and shit. Our generation did, and
Yeah.
most of the parents in our generation don't spank. So like things mellowed out as they've progressed, and
But again, this is an unsubstantiated claim, but worth mentioning. Again, in any serial killer case like this, I always like to be like, all right, here's all the possible fucked up things that could have been, because we give them like, listen, no one's, in my opinion, like none of these people are redeemable. But we do end up feeling a little worse for some of them at the end of this. So Eileen Wuornos, I think, is always my
That's always the go-to.
is like my
yeah.
go-to.
You're
Like, God, she never had a chance. Not from the very beginning. You're all right over there, Craig. Do you love me? Okay. Alcala was a popular student at Hollywood High in Los Angeles and was a young man well known for his intellect and creativity there. Hollywood High is like a very popular public school.
it sounds like a
Well, it's right. It's like on Hollywood Boulevard, or
It sounds like
Sunset,
it
one or
sounds
the
like
other.
a musical, like a teenage dramedy musical.
Hollywood.
I think that a lot of famous people's kids who don't go to private school go to Hollywood High. Like it is a.
As you do.
It's like Clueless.
Yeah, that's
Clueless
kind of what I.
And if you know skateboarding, you know Hollywood High because it's got that, I think, 12 stair and rail. All right, guys. Question number 3. In what course did Rodney excel during high school? Was it A, pottery, B, photography, C, auto shop, or D, wood shop? He said
Dang,
wood.
these are all.
Would.
They're all electives. Pottery, photography, auto shop, and wood shop. He's no longer doing much ballet, but maybe he's still in touch with that creative spirit, you know? Did you write something? Nope. He's digging deep. John digging deep for
Really
the
thinking about
answer
it.
here.
Deep, thinking of all the other serial killers and what they did.
Okay, so what did that lead you to?
They're all really good. So usually it's auto or woodworking. So
Chop, chop.
I just like the sharp
You-
tools.
I went woodworking.
Woodworking.
Yeah.
Courtney says he's a
Photo.
photographer. Give Courtney 250 more points
That seems
because
the creepiest. Like it's gonna lead.
It does
in a creepy
lead
way.
to. I'm not saying my wife's a photographer, so I can't say that
well,
all
not-
photographers
not
are creepy.
For that, but for this story.
But I always wondered
if
how
she was
because
just
like
outside taking pictures through
no
the.
okay so like my wife will do boudoir photographer for women, like especially like if they're getting married they'll do like a boudoir session, an engagement, you know, they do a whole thing. I always wondered how the men who got into like how I. There's no way I could be like, hey, are you ready to take your clothes off and do a sorry.
It's-
Let me just get that out of the way. Okay, so he studied photography, which would later play a significant role in his method of operation as a serial killer. And like general creepy guy, right? Like the guy with the camera around his neck is either like he's usually like that super creative dude, like kind of soft spoken, or creepy. Like
Or
it's
the-
one or the
Yeah.
other.
Or the
Outside.
tourist in the khaki shorts with the black socks and
That's
sandals.
true too. That's true.
If you see a
Yeah, but
person,
they're not a.
But you have to go to,
photographer,
like,
they're just taking
Yosemite for
pictures.
that.
yeah, but if you see a person like that, I'm pretty sure it's legal to mug them because
You're just allowed to.
Yeah,
True.
it's just
They've got their money hidden in that like secret under their shirt wallet pocket thing though. So
no.
doesn't
They
even
keep
matter.
they keep an extra 50 in the
Yeah,
inside,
yeah,
the
yeah.
fold in the inside of the belt just in case they get mugged.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Gotta check their socks.
I was gonna say, Dad,
always gotta single
Make them
it, dude,
strip when you
socks.
mug them.
Listen, look.
This is turning into a little bit more than I think you're asking for.
Lie face down, count to 100 while I go through your fucking pockets.
So also, right after high school, he works as a camp counselor. His early years were generally characterized by instability of feeling and feelings of alienation and perhaps even abuse. These elements could have influenced his habitual descent into criminal behavior. Rodney Alcala's first recorded crime was in 1968. He was a counselor at a youth summer arts camp and a resident of Hollywood, California. He once used the promise of showing a cute kitty to a girl named Tally Shapiro, who was 8, to entice her into his car. She's fucking 8 years old, dude. This pisses me off right off the bat. Then Alcala took Tally to his apartment where he beat her and sexually assaulted her using a steel bar. Alcala was seen carrying Tally's unconscious body out of the apartment by a passing person who then dialed 911.
Good on that person. Like, see something, say something. Don't let that shit
I
slide.
mean, in Dahmer's case, all he
No,
was just like, oh, what? No, that's just, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked about how the cops just fucked up on that
Yeah.
royally.
Yeah.
But like,
Again,
good on this Samaritan. Like, too many people, especially nowadays, see something and they're like, you know what? That's not my problem.
Also,
Yeah, that's none
listen,
of my real business.
as somebody who like I will use the police non-emergency line. I wouldn't say liberally, but like if someone's fucking something up, I'm not just gonna drive by and be like, all right, these motherfuckers are getting paid for this. Plus the town we live in, we know the cops will be there in
Yeah.
like 18 seconds
Yeah,
and there'll be
yeah,
like 6
exactly.
cars. So if that guy's all fucked up and he needs to go hang out somewhere for the night and not fuck anything else up, cool. If he's cool and there's like, hey, don't do this anymore, they'll also do that with 6 cop cars. But at least I know
Yeah.
that guy's not like going to move into like breaking into someone's house next and slice
Yeah.
their throats off or something.
Well, and also, like I said, if you see something, say something. But it depends on the case. Like if you see a guy carrying an unconscious 8-year-old girl, definitely say
yeah,
something.
that's a say
If you see
something,
somebody shoplifting like baby formula, maybe don't say anything.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
That's a
we
victimless
already-
crime.
We
I mean,
already
maybe hold
talked
the door
about.
open when you're coming in a little longer. You know, you're walking in, they're walking out. You just kind of let them go first.
I think we talked about many times that I am fully down for stealing from corporations.
Yeah.
If you can do it, you make that shit happen and just don't get caught. That's all I'm asking.
If you do, don't mention us.
I think to Greg's point, with something like that, you know, like you see someone, you're like, are they carrying their sleeping kid inside, or are they carrying a potential murder victim? Like, hey, if your gut is telling you that it could potentially be that, I would rather have the police be like, hey, it was nothing. You kind of fucking sent us out there for nothing. And be like,
Right.
I didn't send you out there for nothing.
I feel like the police, though, if you called them and were like, hey, there's a guy carrying like maybe an unconscious 8-year-old girl, I feel like the police would probably respond and to be like, thanks. Even though making sure it's just a guy with his daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything's cool.
So you heard that out there. That's a serial killer's thing. 1, see something, say something. 2, if you're using this show for research, don't.
And 3, lie on the ground face down while I go through your pockets.
3 is optional.
No, it's not. 3 is the most important.
Okay, so the police get out there. Talia was found by a police officer to be barely alive and to have suffered serious head wounds. Before the police arrived, Alcala left the area, but he was eventually apprehended and taken into custody. He admitted to the assault during his trial and received an undetermined amount of time at the California Men's Colony at State Prison. So it was like 17 years, but there were like things that needed to be worked out, and there was like some clerical issues, it looked like, going into it, and there fucking absolutely was, because it says literally due to a typing error, he was released from prison after just 34 months for nearly beating a
Jesus.
They just put the decimal in the wrong spot.
I'm trying to. I was like 17 months. No, that's not even.
Yeah,
honestly, and there are like some pretty good explanations from people, but there are some other ones that like maybe aren't as good explanations, but also seem very plausible. So this is one where I'm also like, I didn't want to bring you 8 options of what it could have been. I also didn't feel so strongly about one of the options that I was like, this probably for sure was the one. So go research it yourself if you're interested in what that was. But I do know that due to some type of clerical error, likely literally yes, like just something as simple as like, fuck, it was supposed to be over here actually.
I think the FBI let him out so he could keep going so they could justify their salaries.
I think that is exactly what Eileen Werner said in some of her darkest moments.
She wasn't
Please
wrong.
let me become this, fuckers.
She wasn't like 100% wrong all the time.
No, my favorite Eileen Wernos quote was, and I don't say this much about serial killers, is when they gave her 2 death sentences, and she said, "What are they gonna do? Kill me twice?"
I'll be back June 6th, like Independence Day.
Will Smith and everything.
Rock of Gibraltar.
Why did they fucking read that statement? I feel so terrible for her. Anyway, TWA flight attendant Cornelia Crilly, who was then 23 years old, was residing in a Manhattan apartment in 1971. Her body was discovered strangled in that apartment on June 24th of that year. Up until 2011, when they found DNA evidence that identified Rodney Alcala as the murderer, the police had very little information. You're gonna hear that in almost all of these. This motherfucker was good at getting away before DNA evidence, but once it was like starting to get used, they were like, "Oh, we have this cigarette, but oh, it's Rodney Alcala." like it was bad. So almost every crime that I get to, you'll hear that a lot. But I wanted to mention the motherfucker was. I think, and I don't think I even put it in the outline because it's kind of out there, but there are some people that believe that Rodney Alcala could be responsible for as many as 130 murders.
Wow.
I didn't
That's
put
such a steep
130.
number.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that's
I know.
such a steep number.
So Alcala was residing in New York City at the time that this woman went missing or was turned up dead. He was actually spotted with Cornelia Crilly on the day of her murder. In 2013, more than 40 years after Cornelia Crilly's passing, Alcala was found guilty of her murder. Due to the lack of forensic evidence at the scene of the crime and Alcala's ability to avoid capture for a considerable amount of time, his prosecution was obviously quite delayed. Alcala had used a pair of earrings of hers to make a necklace for himself. So he's a likes to take prizes and it's
trophy.
Trophies. That was the word I was looking for.
This guy gets it.
He knows, and every killer's a little different. Like you like Dexter did like the slide, the drop of blood or whatever, and like some killers do shoes. Some people just take whatever they can get.
Some
of
people
them-
don't, though. Some people don't.
Well, exactly. Well, there's different types of killers.
Yeah.
There's definitely somebody
Process and product.
Who, yeah, there's
Yeah.
like the like
Or
we
the
know
ones that-
shit. We don't know shit.
Well, that's what
guys.
I've heard people say that there's
Yeah, no,
process
that's
and
exactly
product.
it.
Yeah.
That's why I don't mention the McDonald's triad anymore because I get too much shit talking about how I can never remember what they are.
Well, and it
And
doesn't.
I'm not going to tell you what they are because I don't know.
It doesn't help that every time you would try and think of it, I would feed you like 7 wrong answers.
Yeah, but that's our relationship. This is the whole fucking. It's Fred Homolka, dude. It's Fred Homolka.
Tell me what's his name then?
Shut up. So, a few years later, Cherry Ann Greenman is a 25-year-old woman who lived in California. First one, we're in New York. Remember, this is 3,000 miles away. She met Rodney Alcala in 1978 at a bar where he was known to frequent, and the two began dating. On July 7th, 1979, Greenman was reported missing after failing to show up for a job interview. The job interview was like a friend set her up with it, and she's like, yo, what the fuck? Your friend never showed up for the job interview.
Put my name on the line for you,
Right.
dude. What's up?
Yeah, and then I think, we're like 1979, so it wasn't like Facebook messaged her. So like by the time telephone went back around, she's like, wait, why wouldn't she show up? He goes to check up on her, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Damn it, wrong number.
I knew people who had the rotary phone like through the 90s, like just kind
We
of
had
just
one.
yeah. My aunt, like every time you went over there, was like, "Can I call my mom?" And it was like in the cell phone age, so like my mom got a 9 number. I was like, "Oh, you fucking asshole." Let's see. So her body was discovered. I fucking love this segue. My mom's cell phone in the 99. So anyway, her body was discovered several weeks later in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains. She had been strangled to death, and her body had been left in a shallow grave.
A lot of bodies up there.
Bigfoot left a few of them at the time, but his are all in the cave systems.
The
that
guy or the
span
skunk head?
both.
Both.
At the time, the police were unable to identify a suspect in Greenman's murder, and the case remained unsolved for several years. However, in 1980, Rodney Alcala was arrested for the murder of several young women, and during the course of that investigation, police found evidence linking Alcala to Greenman's murder as well. There's a lot of that, too. He'll get arrested for this, and then they'll be like, oh, what the fuck? Dink, 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 and he'll get connected to things. And then something else will happen. And, oh, what the fuck? And then, so it's like he's good at covering his tracks initially, and then after he's like, I'll be all right. Like, I got it.
Yes, it's all falling into place like dominoes.
It's not even how you play. So investigators found photographs of Greenman in Alcala's possession later on, as well as a pair of earrings that had belonged to her. They also found fibers from Alcala's car and carpeting in his apartment that matched fibers found on Greenman's clothing. So that's like, I like that kind of.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
that
we
old
found these
school
fucking
stuff. The
fibers, motherfucker. This is your carpet. What do you say about that?
But also, like, I mean, I get that. That places the victim, and I understand that. But, like, how hard is it to say, yeah, man, there's like 80 people who have this carpet on this block?
But
especially in the 70s
Shag
or 80s
carpet.
yes,
where it's
yes.
shag.
But
and
how
stuff
many of
like
those
that.
people also have the same carpet that comes from your car because they found fibers from his car as well?
I mean, how common is the car? That's what I'm like.
I mean, the Venn diagram shrinks as you add fibers.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
So, like,
adding stuff shrinks the Venn diagram. I agree until eventually he's left in the middle. But I feel like that while it's enough to maybe get a search warrant, it's not enough to convict. I
will just say that this is not the official stance of the serial killers to defend Rodney Alcala.
No.
Hello, Greg might be in that. That's cool. That's all him, man.
I'm not defending him. I'm just saying I don't think that is enough to convict.
It's not for him. It's for the others that it might have gotten.
I don't
swooped
think it
up
was
and
the
that.
only thing that got him convicted, but it was the beginning of
Like I said, it's enough for a warrant.
Yeah, it's enough for a warrant.
At Alcala's trial
If
and
I'm the
Greenman's
judge.
murder in 1986, the prosecution presented evidence linking him to the crime, including the photographs and the fibers. Alcala's defense argued that the evidence was circumstantial and insufficient to prove his guilt. Look at this. Hello, Greg, the defense
Were you
attorney.
on the?
But the jury ultimately found him guilty of Greenman's murder and was sentenced to death. However, in 2003, the California Supreme Court overturned Alcala's conviction due to juror misconduct during this trial. Alcala was retried and convicted again in 2010, and he was sentenced to death for Greenman's murder once more.
I mean, I know juror misconduct means like they were talking about the trial when they shouldn't have.
But it
or
sounds
something
like they did some nefarious
Well, I was
shit.
gonna say,
I know, doesn't it sound so gnarly?
It sounds like they were playing grab ass in the jurors box or something, and the judge
Are
was
you
like,
sure you two didn't kiss?
8, 11, the two of you,
Box misconduct.
come up here, come up here.
No, we have to let Rodney Alcala go because you guys
Listen,
couldn't
you
stop
two.
playing footsie.
Yeah, you two wouldn't quit fucking around. You're gonna blow this case
So
Then he wrote a whole book dedicated to
to
Yeah,
you, the jury.
you, the jury.
Yeah, that's the thing. We were taking it the wrong way. It's you,
yeah.
the jury.
Hey, you guys.
yeah, I'm being convicted here. So there's going to be a lot of that too, of his trials. Just fuck, like honestly, they're confusing, and I don't even really have them straight in my head after like reading parts of a couple books and watching the documentary is a docu-series, which is also on Doc Club. We're not sponsored by Doc Club, but hey, Doc Club, send us free stuff. It's 3-part miniseries, so it's like 2 hours 45 minutes of this story. Lost train of thought. I got so excited about Doc Club, dude. That the court cases, like there are so many where like he'll be tried for X amount of murders, but then they'll overturn 2 of them and he'll have to be retried. And I try to clear it up a little later because there's also many states. We talked about New York early. We talked about California, but there's also like Washington and I believe Montana.
And you have to be
Idaho,
extradited
and-
to all those states to be
correct.
to face.
And some states, once they see you get convicted for 6 death sentences in another state, will be like, okay, we're going to no longer pursue.
Yeah, we don't want to waste our time and money on
yeah.
you. You're dead. Get out of here.
Right.
Sometimes
Sometimes they want them extradited the fuck over there so they.
Sometimes they're like, we want our justice too. We want our percentage. So
Yeah, give us our pound of flesh.
Well, and it helps. It could help with closure for the families too in those.
I mean,
states.
I know Charlize Theron was kidding when she said, "What are you gonna do? Kill me twice?"
Yeah,
But
he said Charlie there.
but like, what if that was what they did? They like suffocate you or something, like smother you with a pillow and then bring you back to life.
Hit you with a shot of adrenaline in the heart.
And then they're like, okay, tomorrow you got 2 more, and then you get shipped off to Tennessee where you
Oh my gosh.
where you've got 3 scheduled over the weekend, and then you have to like. I feel like that's way more of a deterrent
Yeah, for sure.
than just a regular death sentence.
Yeah.
Like, and it's up to them how they're gonna do it. Like, it doesn't have to be a pillow. Like, it could just be like it could be like boom, a bunch of barbiturates, and you're like, man, I'm sleepy.
Yeah.
And then
I
they're
like you, but you're crazy.
And then they're just like, boom, a bunch of amphetamines, and you're like, wait, I'm back. And then they just like let you run till your heart gives out, and then they're like, clear. All right, that was 2. Put them away. That's it for today. That's all we can legally
And then
kill
if you
him
don't
today.
make it back to one, it's like, man, we tried.
Yeah, and like
When-
that's all we can legally kill him for today.
Wasn't there a story about a dude that died, but then came back, and they were like, well, he served a sentence, and there was like some.
He tried to claim that he served his
Oh my
sentence.
gosh.
Like they killed him, or they tried to execute him in some. Or no, he died in prison, and then came back, like was resuscitated,
Yeah.
and they said he was like
Oh,
technically,
that's what it
technically
was.
dead for a
I
couple
think there
minutes
was
or
one
whatever.
too where the dude like went through the electric chair process, but for some reason like it didn't throw the voltage necessary to kill somebody. So
grounded.
yeah, like it shocked the fuck out of him. But it
The
finished, and he was literally
executioner's over
like,
there going,
Yo.
Gosh.
Just press the button on the GFI.
Yeah. Wasn't that called Ernest Goes to Prison or something like that?
burn.
Oh, dude.
Ernest P. World Electro Man.
All right. So the next victim we have is Eileen. I don't know whether to go Hover or Hover. It is spelled Hover. Eileen H.
That looks like Hover.
Okay, Eileen Hover was a 23-year-old aspiring orchestra conductor who lived in New York. She was the daughter of a Hollywood nightclub owner and the goddaughter of question number 4. She was the goddaughter of who? Was it A, Sammy Davis Jr., B, Frank Sinatra, C, Mickey Mantle, or D, Cher?
You know what's the most annoying thing is how much, like, I know this case, but it's these little questions like this. Like, I know he killed somebody's famous, but I have no idea who it was.
I sometimes, like, because this is a revisit for us. This is an episode that was part of that early 15 that I'm, like, doing
Were you
all
on
over.
this originally?
No.
Oh, that'd be wild.
I think we looked up who was on it last time to make sure. 'cause
Yeah.
that's what he was like.
That'd
Could
be
John
really
have been
funny.
on this? I was like, hopefully he won't remember. It was like 5 years ago. So, but yeah, okay, all right. So we got Sammy Davis, Frank Sinatra, Mickey Mantle, or Cher. What'd you say?
Did you say Sinatra's one
Yep,
of them?
Sinatra's one of them.
I was
Yep.
like, did I look
See?
that up?
See, Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle.
She was the goddaughter of Sammy Davis Jr.
I'm over here trying to drop hints. I can't directly say it, but
You did talk about him a lot.
nobody gave me a chance. I mean, I know I threw some other names at you, but
I'm also going to tell you right now, before you get too far into believing him, that he does not know the answers to these questions.
I could have the answers up, but I don't.
Interesting.
He likes to play along. It's fun. We let him think he's important.
This mic's not even plugged in.
Oh, you're the second controller?
I got the little. I got the Mad Catz controller.
Yeah.
It plugs in, but we don't plug it in.
No, it can be wireless.
So, yeah, she's the goddaughter of Sammy Davis Jr., and in the summer of 1977, she was preparing to move to Europe to pursue her career in music. On July 15th, 1977, she was scheduled to meet with a photographer named John Berger in Manhattan to pick up headshots for her portfolio. Now, there's a whole fucking side thing you can go down with John Berger, which is Rodney Alcala in New York. He's John Berger. In LA, he's Rodney Alcala.
What year is this?
77.
So still at the point in time where you could
do that.
You'd have to go more than a couple towns, but you could go.
I mean, he's on opposite sides of the country.
you could be on
so-
opposite sides of the country with multiple names.
Yeah, so the documentary that I mentioned at the beginning, this really goes into the John Berger, side of things.
It's confirmed that that's his.
Well, it's confirmed that Rodney Alcala killed this woman. It's not confirmed that John Berger did it. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like, John Berger's name is connected to a lot of stuff, but who is John Berger
Right.
kind of thing.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So, probably Rodney.
Yeah.
Could be John Berger.
Could be.
Check out the Doc Club, Amazon, $1.99 a month.
I'm gonna have to get their logo and just super every time you mention it.
So, Hoover's disappearance remained a mystery for several years until Rodney Alcala was arrested in California for the murders of several young women, including her. I'm going to leave that name out for now, actually. Further investigation revealed that Alcala had rented a storage locker in Seattle under a false name, and inside the locker, police found a pair of earrings that matched the ones that were in Alcala's possession, as well as a pair of earrings that had belonged to another victim. They also found a gold ball earring that had been engraved with the name Jill, which he believed belonged to another victim named Jill. A little further down. I'm kind of bringing the bottom part of a story up and then bringing Jill, I get it. Investigations also found a
stretched on
receipt
that one.
for a camera that had been pawned in New York City in July of 1977, which is around the time that Hoover had gone missing. And in 2016, Alcala was charged with Hoover's murder, and the prosecution presented evidence linking him to the crime. This included earrings found in the possession of evidence found in the Seattle storage locker, and Alcala was also linked to the crime through a witness who had seen him with Hoover on the day that she had disappeared. Alcala was convicted of Hoover's murder in 2017, more than 40 years after her disappearance. Question number 5. It is now the late 70s, and Alcala lands a job. What will he be doing? Is it A, a comic book artist, B, a typesetter for a newspaper, C, an editor for a magazine, or D, a photographer at a theme park? Comic book artist, typesetter, editor, photographer. All right, John, what do you do? What do you do?
Photographer.
Photographer.
Whatever the job with the newspaper.
The typesetter.
Yeah.
Give Courtney 250
Fuck
points because in the late
man.
70s, Rodney Alcala worked as a typesetter at the Los Angeles
He wanted
Times.
to be kept in the know.
This is getting out of control here, John.
I did awful on the first one, and I just assumed to do awful on the second one, Keeping
When
it,
Greg steps
keeping
in
it
to
solid.
tell you it's bad, it must have gone off
I mean,
the rails.
it's you're down 750 to nothing.
Well, hey, you know what, though? That was only question number 5, okay?
Yeah, plenty of time. Plenty of time. I'm just letting you know.
He works at the LA Times. Typesetter at the LA Times. So it's not like some, run out of a trailer. Some college guys are putting together a zine. You want to come be a typesetter?
The lone gunman.
Yeah,
Zine.
Whoa.
Love it.
I had some homies that started a zine, and it had like one issue, and they're like, "Fuck, that was a lot of work.
Yeah.
We'll be done with that now. Thanks for supporting the zine."
Annual issue.
Yeah. Okay, so Alcala was hired by the Times in 1977 and worked there until 1978. During his time at the Times, Alcala's co-workers described him as quiet and unassuming, but he also had a reputation for being eccentric and unconventional. Like, how do you be an eccentric, unconventional typesetter? Like, man, the way he, you should see the way he.
Guy really likes his exclamation points.
It's true.
Hey, you guys know where the exclamation points are? Rodney used 7 on the headline, so we actually don't have. We pulled the whole issue's exclamation points right here.
And there's commas everywhere for no reason.
He was going through a Christopher Walken phase.
Yeah. Next week, he said he's going to do no punctuation at all.
Guy took all the capitals.
During this time, Alcala's coworkers described him as quiet and unassuming. Yep. He would often bring his camera to work and take photographs of his coworkers, and he was known to ask young women out on dates. Like, and when I say young women, I don't mean like, oh, the ladies that also work. Like, he found the younger ladies in the office. You know, like, hey,
you ever had your picture taken? I know a guy.
Fucking hate that so much.
I know.
Taking the Caprio approach.
Is that what he sounds like?
I don't know.
Oh.
I think I've heard his voice in the. Some of the
looking at him,
he does have a very depressed,
But he didn't look
Weird
like
Al.
that the whole time, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he definitely like had the long hair. He had the like. He's a fairly good looking young dude. Like when you see him in the 70s, like pretty good looking.
I mean, that picture right there.
I mean, how long was he in
Kind of
prison
looks
right
like
there?
a granny there.
He kind of gives off. You guys ever seen Rocky Horror Picture Show? Remember Riff Raff?
Oh, okay.
Just like a little bit of Riff Raff vibes.
I feel it.
Not like soup, but like the guy who plays Riff Raff out of costume.
Yeah.
Looks probably like that.
Okay, so following his arrest, the Times conducted an investigation into Alcala's employment and found that he had been hired despite a criminal record and questions about his character. The Times also discovered that Alcala had lied on his job application, claiming that he had never been convicted of a felony. In the wake of the revelations about Alcala's past, the Times changed their hiring practices and implemented more rigorous background checks for prospective employees.
You see, Marge, because of me, they made a rule.
The paper also faced criticism for its handling of Alcala's employment, with some accusing the Times of negligence and failing to properly vet its employees. Despite the controversy surrounding Alcala's employment at the time, the newspaper itself was not implicated in any wrongdoing related to Alcala's crimes. Like, they didn't give him like we were thinking maybe like some inside info, like he was getting the scoop, or luckily.
Yeah.
However, the case was served as a
I'll
cautionary
commit
tale.
the crimes and I'll never report on them. Nobody will ever find out about it.
It's the perfect crime.
Hi, I'm from LAPD. We need you to run this story. No. Okay, then give me that paper back. What paper?
Does this whole deal?
Yeah.
Eating it.
Give me that back. Give what back?
So,
No, we can just print off another one, right? No.
no, that was handwritten and one
was
of a
the only
kind.
one.
I'll eat that too.
So, yes, the case did serve as a cautionary tale about the importance of conducting thorough background checks and vetting prospective employees. Moving on to another victim, Pamela Jean Lamson, also known as Pamela Jean Lambden. I think this is another one of those, like, someone fucked up the S and the D, not far from one another on the keyboard.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
At some point. And so now it's like half of the articles are written as Lamson, half are as Lambden. Just so you know, just so if you hear me fuck it up, that's why. Also, let's see, she was 19-year-old
Maybe the
woman.
reporter had a lisp.
Ooh, maybe so.
Lampson.
These cookies, these are malicious. She was a 19-year-old woman who was murdered by Rodney Alcala in 1978. She was from a small town in Central California.
Ooh, where?
Question number 6. What small town in Central California was she from? This one,
I asked you.
I have multiple choice options, but you may stab for 1,000 points if you'd like to pick a small town in Central California. Smallish, smaller. I do have 4 options here. So, you
So
guys this is old school. We haven't done like stabs,
I
but multiple choices.
We haven't done
go-
stabs since like season 2 or 3.
Just
I
so
wrote
you know,
one.
if you stab, you cannot have the multiple choice options.
fine.
That's your only. That's it. You wrote something?
Yep.
All right, Courtney's stabbing.
Love it.
That sounds terrible, but yes.
Well, that's the idea, right? Are you gonna stab too, John?
I'm not stabbing.
Okay, okay. You just hang on to that.
All right.
You wrote it down, right? No
Yeah,
changing your answer.
I saw it. I know what it is.
All right, John. Was it A, Exeter, B, Dinuba, C, Atwater, or D, Porterville.
Ooh, that's not good.
But I
You thought too after he said Dinuba.
Okay.
I say, yeah.
All right, John, what did you say?
Said C.
Atwater.
Atwater.
Courtney, what'd you say?
can I guess multiple choice even though it doesn't count?
Yeah.
Exeter.
Okay.
But I said Delano.
Oh, that's a good small town in Central California,
Felt the
guys.
vibes.
No one gets any points. It was Porterville.
Womp womp.
Porterville.
Again.
She's from Porterville, California, and was described as being friendly and outgoing. Lamson was last seen alive on November 10th, 1978, when she left her home to go to, coincidentally, a ballet class. Her family reported he was probably just there, like, I'm just trying to get back to my roots.
That's such a...
He's like, I'm going to go to a ballet class again. And he sees her and he goes, guess I'm going to do the other thing.
They said she was friendly and outgoing. Like, that's so much nicer than what was the story we did like 3 weeks ago where
She
they
was
were
like semi-literate.
Yeah, she was
Just started talking shit?
semi-literate and trusting was how she was
Yeah, it was
how she
something
was
like that.
described by some con
Oh,
man that
shit.
took advantage of her and like took all her money and everything. And they were just like, yeah, she was semi-literate and trusting.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that if that's how you're remembered after after you're dead, you get 3 words: semi-literate and trusting.
Semi-literate and trusting.
I would be okay with that.
I said you got 3
Obituary
words.
just right there.
Because it could be definitely worse. So her family reported her missing when she failed to return home after her ballet class, and her disappearance was investigated by local authorities. In 1979, Lamson's remains were found in a remote area near the town of Big Tujunga. Tujunga? It's a J. Every time there's a J in there, you never know. Tujunga? Los Angeles County. Yep. We'll just skip past that. She had been strangled to death, and her body is... Someone's going to be like, it's like Tuja. It's just some fucking... God, upstate New York pronunciation.
Yeah, that name doesn't belong here.
Yeah. Get out of here. I can't. So she had been strangled to death, and her body was partially buried. Another woman, Christine Ruth Thornton, was 28 years old. She was also murdered by Rodney Alcala in 1977 and was originally from San Antonio, Texas. He's like, you too?
Wow, Texas.
Samesies.
She had moved to California in 1977 to pursue a career in advertising. On April 16th, 1977, Thornton disappeared while on her way to meet a friend. Her body was discovered 12 days later in a remote area of the Los Angeles foothills. She had been sexually assaulted, beaten, and strangled to death with a nylon stocking. At the time of Thornton's murder, Rodney Alcala was living in the same area of Los Angeles and was under surveillance by police. However, he was not initially considered a suspect in Thornton's murder. In 1977, Rodney Alcala killed a 17-year-old high school student named Joyce Gaunt. She was a gifted artist who loved to paint and draw, and she resided in L.A., California. While traveling to school on February 25th, 1977, Gaunt just vanished. 12 days later, her body was found in a desert area close to Lancaster, California, in a Los Angeles suburb. Using a cord or rope, she had been strangled to death, and Alcala was detained later on for unrelated charges. Question number 7, what were the unrelated charges for? So he gets picked up on unrelated charge and then connected to Joyce Gaunt. So was it assault, unpaid parking tickets, drugs, or Grand Theft Auto?
I'd like to give a shout out to howtopronounce.com.
Yeah.
It's pronounced Tujunga.
Okay, so I said it right the first time.
Tujunga.
Yeah. Okay.
Tujunga.
But that was just like it's in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Like
it's not a Spanish word,
It
it's
could
not
be
a native
Tujunga
word, like-
because it's Tujunga.
yeah. See, that's what I was like. Is it
Tujunga?
Tujunga? Is it
Like,
Tuyunga?
who brought that name?
Yeah.
I will tell you right now.
You know, people from LA are like fucking uncultured swine. All right, what do you guys think? Is it assault, unpaid parking tickets, drugs, or Grand Theft Auto?
Grand Theft Auto.
I'm going to say parking tickets.
That's a good one.
It's drugs.
Drugs.
Yes.
Drugs.
So he was actually like smoking a joint with some minor, like probably
he's
trying to
trying to
pick
be
her up.
cool.
The cops
Yeah,
rolled
trying
up
to be
on him
cool.
and was like,
You mean a kid?
yeah.
Okay. I was like, the
a
guy's
little
been
hat?
guy's been down working all
Yeah,
day.
he hadn't just come out of the coal mine. Or
He can't
anything.
toot the zoot to relax after a hard day in the mines.
So yeah, he got busted for that. He tried to blame it on the child as well.
Yo, this isn't mine.
Weed, yeah.
I was like, just stand here. This kid walked up.
And they were like, oh, he's like a convicted rapist and murderer.
I was
This
just
is
holding
like
it for a
child.
friend.
That's just,
So
who's your friend? I don't know this kid.
yeah, despite not
As red as the devil's dick.
I'm sorry, I thought it was decriminalized by now. Despite not initially being considered a suspect in Gaunt's murder, police discovered a number of images of Gaunt while searching Alcala after his arrest. So he's got a lot of photos of a lot of people that committed a lot of crimes that he was not considered a suspect in.
Gross.
But he's like, I got their photos though.
Yeah.
Like that movie with Jake
Them
Gyllenhaal,
trophies.
where like car accidents and stuff would happen at night, and he'd go there and take pictures of it before
Nightcrawler?
the police. Yeah.
Nightcrawler, yeah.
No, that's an X-Men.
It's also that movie.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah. That.
Yep.
Is he doing that?
That's the one.
Is that what Rodney Alcala's doing?
No, I think he's taking pictures of women he's murdering. But I like your defense attorney turn.
I'm not trying to defend him.
Well, I mean, that's all you've been doing. So, yeah. Here's the thing: is you're not even doing it on purpose. That's the problem. 2010 saw a reopening of the investigation, and DNA evidence was used to connect Alcala to the murder of Joyce Gaunt. Alcala photographed Gaunt just before she was killed, and his DNA was discovered on her body, according to evidence presented to the prosecution at his trial. Alcala was ultimately found guilty of murdering Gaunt and given the death penalty. Question number 8. Rodney was approached about another murderer's work. Who? Was it A, Ted Bundy, B, Juan Corona, C, Edmund Kemper, or D, Kenneth Bianchi? Ted Bundy, Juan Corona, Ed Kemper, Kenneth Bianchi.
Okay, so I feel like, before you guys answer, I feel like this was a question on an episode, because we've covered all those same killers, and I feel like this was a question on that episode.
Yes.
Oh.
Was it?
Well,
I feel
it
like
wasn't
it was,
a question,
but it was mentioned.
but Alcala's connection to possibly them was mentioned.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, go ahead. I thought I remembered that.
He's trying to give you hints, but only if you listen to the show.
And if
doesn't stick
you
with
think
me.
I know what I'm talking about.
And if you think Greg knows, that's your real...
It's like listening to a
And if you're actually
psychic.
trying to be helpful.
Yeah, it's like listening to a psychic. Like, what are they really saying?
All right, you guys got answers?
Yep.
What do you think?
D.
Courtney said Ted Bundy. John said Kenneth Bianchi. Get John some points, baby.
Yeah,
Because
on the
Rodney
board.
Alcala was interviewed by members of the Hillside Strangler Task
I
Force
knew
in
it.
1979 as a potential suspect in the case. The Hillside Strangler was a killer who was active in Los Angeles from the area of 1977, February of 78. We did it 2 episodes ago.
I was thinking-
This next Friday coming out,
Yeah.
for you guys, you'll hear the Hillside Stranglers episode.
I was thinking Toy Box, and I was like, no, it's not Toy Box. And then I was like,
Yeah.
it's the 2. I couldn't remember the actual.
Yep. That's
And
them.
that name.
We were just talking about the Hillside Stranglers before they got here, too.
Yep, and that they operated in geographically a very close range at the exact same time.
Their Venn diagram's a circle.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he got interviewed, because like cigarette butts of his were found near a body
yeah,
that
the
he had
dump site.
no connection to at all. Yeah,
But he was just there.
but also he had a body nearby that they later found. They jumped bodies near each other's bodies, the Hillside Stranglers, and
He just walks in carrying one, and they're walking out after just dumping
yeah.
one.
Well, one of us has got to change.
Just crossing, Pat.
Hey! Ooh,
Hey, go an extra 30 feet, because
Hey, the ground's softer right up the hill.
Yeah, just good rain, fresh, easy digging.
oh my gosh, where we're going to hell.
Awful.
Okay, so at the time of the interview, Alcala was already a convicted rapist and had been released from prison just 2 years earlier. That was, he's a bad dude. The investigators were interested in Alcala because some of his known victims had been found in the same area where the Hillside Stranglers victims had been discovered, and his appearance was similar to the composite sketch of the suspect. During the interview, Alcala denied any involvement with the Hillside Strangler murders and then offered to take a polygraph test. However, he was not considered a strong suspect at the time, and the investigators focused their efforts on other leads, namely Angelo Bono and Kenneth Bianchi, which they were totally fucking right to do. Question number 9. In 2013, DNA was extracted from what to link Alcala to the murder of Jill Holcomb, who was originally thought to be a victim of the Hillside Stranglers.
What?
That was where we connected them.
I thought it was Fred Homolka.
Shut up. Okay, so they extracted a DNA from what? Was it A, cigarette butt, B, a soda can, C, a tire iron with blood, or D, semen left at the scene? Cigarette butt, soda can, tire iron, semen. Tire iron. A?
Did you draw a cigarette?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cigarette butt and cigarette butt. Y'all were both right. Give them both 250 points because in 2013, DNA evidence obtained from a discarded cigarette butt was used to link Alcala to the murder of 28-year-old victim Jill Barcombe, who had been found near the same location as some of the Hillside Strangler victims. So in the Hillside Strangler episode, we talked about a possible victim of theirs being Jill Barcombe, but it was actually a victim of Rodney Alcala.
Crazy.
That's what inspired me to do this episode because I was like, oh, well, we need to fucking do a Rodney Alcala one sometime. Maybe I'll do it. Here we are 2 weeks later. And
Here we are.
we got it fucking going, y'all. But I just think that's fucking wild that they're operating like same town, same time,
So close.
so close that they're like dumping bodies.
That they're getting confused for each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
While Alcala was never officially charged with anything in the Hillside Strangler murders, many investigators believe that he may have been involved in some of their cases. Like, not only just dumping bodies nearby, like he might have hung with them for a little bit and gotten some of his early work done because of them. Question number 10. Rodney will appear on a game show in 1978 that will earn him his nickname. What game show was it? If you can write it down, I'll give you 500 points. But I do have multiple choice options. So the stab isn't for 1,000 because there's only so many game shows. So
I know the game show. I just can't remember the name of it.
Ooh, well, you'll have to wait for that multiple choice. It
I
sounds
was
like.
gonna say, do you want a second?
Give me a second.
And I did go all 1978 game shows. So no bamboozle here. These are all 1978 game shows. He was on one of them. All of them, regular people could come off the street and be on.
The dating game.
Okay. Here comes
It's my stab.
the multiple choice.
Yeah.
Was it Hollywood Squares, The Dating Game, Family Feud, or The Pyramid?
I love
Squares.
the pyramid.
Do you believe in John's guess
You believe
well
in my
enough to
guess?
you could
She already did the.
I did squares. I
Okay.
went Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Squares? John said The Dating Game. Give John 500 points because Rodney
OMG.
Alcala appeared on the television
That was like
program
his name.
The Dating Game, giving him his nickname, The Dating Game Killer.
The dating game. Killer.
Just a heads up. That tied it up. It
Look
is
at that.
1,000 all now.
Wild.
And we've got 4 questions to go.
And if it ties, it goes to the artistic challenge.
Oh God.
Oh, God. Let's actually take a quick break here.
You wanna take a
And
quick break?
yeah, we'll come back and we'll get the last, it's more like last third of the story, but I never write breaks in anymore, so I'm always like, when does my butt start hurting?
Yeah.
So we'll do that. We'll take a little breath of fresh air. Come back or we'll kill you.
Yep. In 5, 4.
So, Rodney Alcala has been opposite. Welcome back, everybody. Greg was being a real producer right there. Caught me off guard, man.
Gave you the Wayne's World count in.
Yeah, I love it.
I
Welcome
was
back,
waiting for you
everybody.
to go.
Thank you for coming back. Means we don't have to kill you, so that's great. Because I'm feeling extra lazy today. Greg and I were both talking about trying to take naps in here before you guys got here. Can we just pull it up? Also, I ate a bunch of food before you guys got here too, so I'm ready. I think I'm going to take a nap in my car, even though I got to give Greg a ride home. He's just going to have to hang out for that before we get.
That's fine. I can sit there.
Just a bunch of taco farts. You're just chilling in the car. You can't get out. It'll wake me up. So we left off with John getting 500 points, knowing that The Dating Game was the show Rodney Alcala appeared on. Now, remember we talked about, like, in the 70s, he was, like, an attractive dude. He had, like, the long surfer hair. Like, he had a good persona. He was, like, a tan dude.
He looks like a character from Dazed and Confused.
He looks very, like, classic, cliche 70s guy for the time.
Would it blow any questions if I pull up a picture of him from The Dating Game?
Nope. Just type in, like, young Rodney Alcala. A single woman would interview 3 bachelors who were concealed behind a screen. You guys know how the dating game works. But anybody that doesn't, like, that's how it is. It's like one chick would ask questions, 3 dudes were on the other side answering the questions.
Vibe going on.
She would pick one of the bachelors, and in the end, that's how it went. So Alcala was chosen as one of the bachelors for the show and appeared on the episode. He presented himself as a charming and attractive man, even seducing the female contestant with his assured bearing and easy smile. Alcala was convicted murderer and rapist at the time, but neither the show's creators nor the contestants knew this. In fact, at the time of the show's taping, Alcala was on parole for the rape and attempted murder of Tali Shapiro, the 8-year-old girl at the beginning.
Jesus, dude.
So sad.
While he's on the dating game. Like, that's so crazy that he's just going out there, not even like trying to keep a low profile. He's going on a nationally syndicated TV show to be like, hey, now I'm out here trying to get somebody else.
And I'm not even using a fake name. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
The female contestant who had selected Alcala on the show claimed in later interviews that she had found him creepy and opted not to go on any actual date with him after all.
Can I take your picture?
Yeah, he actually won.
Alcala's appearance on the dating game has become a notorious example of how a serial killer is able to blend in with society and deceive others through his charm and charisma. Which, that seems like probably
Sort of.
one of the more...
I think on like a cursory look, because it was charming. He was charming enough to get picked.
Yeah.
But not charming enough to go out on a date with.
So creepy.
Like on
but he
closer
was
and
charming
charisma
enough to
does
get
a lot.
through auditions, second auditions, get selected to be one of 3 contestants that day on the show, and then through all that.
But I think all
but
that's
still with the women,
pretty
he's
superficial.
still
Yeah, a lot of
creepy.
that's superficial.
a lot of that superficial stuff. Like, he's probably just they probably don't dive. They don't
I'm
have
saying
long
that
conversations
if
with
you
them.
blend in well enough,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
not only with your charisma, you're a chameleon, you're a serial killer, you just sort of...
To not be seen, get passed over, and I believe he did that.
Yeah.
I think he got passed over because he's, they looked over any creepiness because he didn't show any, and then once you actually get to know him, you're like, ugh,
Yeah.
Yeah, we know people like that.
Gross.
do.
We do.
So, it was just... it was... weird situation for sure, and he's the dating game killer from now on for that. The incident also sparked debate about the show's selection procedure and the risks inherent with an experiment such as this. Moving on to sadly another victim, Jill Barcombe. This is one that initially they thought may have been the Hillside Stranglers, but no, it's this fuckface asshole piece of shit. An 18-year-old aspiring model, Jill Barcombe, had just relocated to Los Angeles from Oneida, New York. Her body was discovered on November 10th, 1977 by a group of hikers in the Los Angeles foothills. Barcombe had been sexually assaulted and been strangled to death, according to evidence. The murder went unsolved for a long time because the police at the time had no leads in the case. Rodney Alcala and Barcombe's murder were connected only in the 2010s, thanks to some of the advancements in DNA evidence. Alcala was a resident of Los Angeles at the time of the murder and was known to frequently visit the Sunset Strip. I know what it is. I just can't fucking say it.
I was trying to help.
'Cause I'm stupid. I'm stupid, Nick.
English isn't my first language, okay?
It's not my third language either.
Technically correct.
So he went to the Sunset Strip and took his camera a lot. Hey, can I take your picture?
Probably got cool pictures of some people waiting to see some like metal bands and stuff before they got famous.
Yeah, maybe so.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Can you
Probably
imagine
mostly-
like looking through that photo album of just like his random pictures of people on the sunset?
There's probably like a lot of
Okay.
famous people before they were famous in the background of those pictures.
He
You
was
see,
literally approaching women and asking to photograph them. Like, he wasn't like taking cool pictures of like the groups and like you might find someone like that, but it wasn't like broad pictures of everything happening on Sunset. It was like,
These aren't
Hey.
artistic.
Hey, you want me to lean against the wall?
Listen,
Come on,
I
I'll
followed
take
you
some
from
photos
home and I
here.
wanted to ask you.
pretty
Was
much, did you
Viper
hear
on
those
Sunset?
shoes behind you in the alley? That was me.
I don't think so.
What was that?
Viper Room, was that on Sunset?
Or Hollywood.
I thought
I
it was
know
on
it's in
Hollywood.
it's
No, I
in
thought it was on Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Hollywood
that sounds more
Sunset.
right. That sounds more right.
So let's see. As Barcomb's murder happened soon after Alcala was released from prison for the rape and attempted murder of Talia Shapiro. He is one of the first suspects for this victim. Over 3 decades after Barcomb's death, Alcala was ultimately accused of her murder and found guilty in 2010. The incident is just one in a long list of violent crimes committed by Alcala against young women, many of whom he got to know through what? His interest in photography. Legal assistant Charlotte Lamb was 32 and was a resident of Santa Monica, California, and her body was discovered in her apartment on June 24th, 1978 by her landlord. She had been raped before being strangled with a cord, and for many years, again, the murder had gone unsolved because there was pretty much no evidence to go on, no suspect in the case. Rodney Alcala had been implicated in Lamb's murder in 2010 thanks to DNA evidence. Fuck yeah, DNA evidence, right? Like,
Go get him, Tiger.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Alcala, because it also works in wonderful ways the other way, where there's been people in prison.
No. You don't take people out of prison. You only put people in prison. This is America.
America.
You take people out of prison, you're taking food out of people's mouths.
I like that I've got to chant that for like the last 5 episodes, and it's just fit very well.
Just because you keep letting me talk.
America. America. Okay, shut up. So he was also known to frequently visit the Santa Monica region while residing in Southern California at the time of the murders. Investigators think that Alcala and Lamb may have met through an interest of photography. You know what? I'm just going to say it. Stop hanging out with photographers, you guys. Just cut
For
it
your
out.
own safety.
I'm sorry, photographers, but Rodney Alcala did this to you.
I'm not.
He may have lured her to her own apartment where he killed her. Alcala was being looked into at the time of her murder for the slaying of Jill Barcombe, another young woman that we have talked about. 3 decades after Lamb's passing, Alcala was ultimately accused of her murder and found guilty in 2010. The incident is just one of a string of violent crimes, again, connected by photography. Almost all of them, they think that the women were like, hell yeah, I want to be photographed. I want to be a model.
Can
and he
use
was
this
just
for
all,
my portfolio.
yeah, he's just like, hey, I'm Rodney Alcala. I've got a camera. Let me go kill you in your apartment, all right? And they're like,
Do you
"Oh,
think
okay."
okay, so this is probably has no bearing on anything, but do you think he like took legitimate photographs, like got some women to come take the photographs and everything, so he still had like a reputation,
Like a small portfolio of like regular pictures.
so he could build a reputation and not be suspicious
He
taking
did.
photos.
I mean,
and
he
stuff.
he had to have let him go, like
Right, and let some
every
go,
other
and then
one or every 3.
right, or do you
out.
think he was just like nom 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 all the time?
So another woman named Georgia. Now help me with this last name. I mean, Wickstead is how I would say it. It's Wixted. Wickstead.
Yeah,
Wickstead.
Solid.
But someone else can be like, no, you don't pronounce the X. I have such a complex about pronouncing things now because
it's
so
pronounced
much
like
shit from
it's
upstate
pronounced
New
like
York.
a soft
and from-
J, so it's Wished.
Yeah, we should. All right, Georgia W. was a 27-year-old nurse who lived in Malibu,
Georgia
California.
W.
Tacos rule. On December 16th, 1978, she was found dead in her apartment by a coworker who had become concerned when she failed to show up for her shift at the hospital. So she's a nurse, doesn't show up to the hospital. Kind of a big deal when nurses don't do that. Her friend goes to check up on her, finds her dead in her home. She had been sexually assaulted and strangled to death with a cord from her robe. So the
little belt
ties. Yep. Investigators found evidence of a struggle in her apartment, indicating that she had fought back against her attacker, but ultimately was unable to, win that battle. At the time, police were unable to identify a suspect in the case. What do you fucking know? Part of me is just like, what are they doing? What are they doing?
He's a suspect in 4 cases, but we have no evidence. I mean, how do you make him a suspect unless you have enough to like link him? And if you've got enough to link him, why don't you have enough to grab him?
Because they only have an inkling. Just an inkling.
Hmm.
You know what to do with an inkling?
What?
I have no idea. That's why I'm asking.
That's apparently they
I
don't
have
know
questions and I need answers. You should ask questions. At the time, police weren't able to identify a suspect. Yep. However, in 1980, Rodney Alcala was arrested for the murder of several young women, including Robin Samso. And when they searched his home, they found something that belonged to Georgia Wickstead. What was it? Was it her shoes, a necklace, her ID, or classic him, her earrings? We know he's taking earrings, and that is a perfectly viable answer. Is he switching it up? IDs? ID seems like a bad fucking idea, right?
Yeah.
That's the Willie Picton mood. Just keep the whole purse, throw it in a pile in the corner.
I was talking about him today, too.
Yeah.
What were the other options? IDs, earrings?
Shoes, necklace, ID, earrings. And earrings we talked about a bunch. He's had a lot of earrings, for sure. So
shoes seems clunky.
So is this a question where I thought, man, they'll think I'm trying to trick them if I put earrings in there? Or is it just earrings, guys?
But see, necklaces
That's what makes it fun, doesn't it?
But, like, are there enough people wearing necklaces to start keeping them as trophies?
What about earrings? Like, not every woman wears earrings.
Not every woman wears earrings, but I would feel like
every day at least.
In the 70s and 80s, that was probably a little more popular than... I don't know. Don't listen to me. I don't have the answers here.
I think when they found all that stuff, they were like looking for like those things, but I think this thing stood out.
Ooh, okay. John said
ID.
ID.
I went necklace.
Necklace.
Yeah.
It was earrings.
Damn.
During the course of the investigation, police found a pair of earrings in
he
Alcala's
tried to tell you
possession.
that, and he has the answers.
That had belonged to Georgia Wickstead. When questioned about the earrings, Alcala initially claimed that he had bought them at a flea market. What a coincidence, right? No way. That could possibly be.
Where else do you get earrings?
However, he later changed his story, admitting that he had taken them from her apartment after killing her. In 1986, Alcala was charged with her murder, and the prosecution presented evidence linking him to the crime. This included the earrings found in the possession, as well as eyewitness testimony and evidence of Alcala's M.O. in the murder. So, a lot of stuff against Rodney Alcala, we'll see, and we found, is not, like Greg, the defense attorney, was telling us, a lot of circumstantial stuff.
Wait till he sees the bill I send him for this episode. We're at 2 hours now. This fucking guy.
So, despite the evidence against him, Alcala's conviction for her murder was later overturned on an appeal due to a technicality. Have you ever heard a luckier motherfucker?
Seriously.
However, he was retried and convicted in 2010, and he was sentenced to death for the murder of Georgia Wickstead. In Burbank, California, Jill Parenteau, do I ever read last name? God rest their soul, but Jesus. In Burbank, California, Jill P., a 21-year-old college student, was majoring in art. She was reported missing on June 14th, 1979, after skipping a scheduled art class, and 2 days later, in the Angeles National Forest, her body was found. Investigators discovered evidence of sexual assault along with strangulation in the death of Jill. The murder went unsolved for a number of years because... no suspects, no evidence, nothing around. He was detained, however, in 1980 for the murder of all of the other women we've been talking about, and in his possession, a pair of earrings that belonged to her. So at his 1980 trial, the prosecution presented evidence connecting him to Jill P.'s murder, including the photos discovered in possession of her, eyewitness testimony. Appeals court later overturned his murder conviction of Jill P.'s death because of a procedural error. And in 1986, he was tried again and found guilty. However, this verdict was also overturned on appeal. Alcala was retried for Jill P.'s murder and a number of others in a combined trial in 2010. For the murders, he was found guilty and given the death penalty. So a lot of these were repeating. Like, I am just kind of putting them at the end of each one. In 2010, he was convicted for I think 4 or 6 murders. They all connected after mistrials, and they were brought together as one trial. There was a 1980, a 1986, a 2000, a 2003, and a 2010 trial, I believe.
Now, do you think he's got these earrings, like, I'm assuming just random, like, in his pocket maybe? Now, if he had a nice case and they were all, like, and, like, set up nice and it was a collection, do you think they would have thought anything? They're just like, oh, this dude collects earrings.
So I think this is what I kind of
could have been left to him by his mom.
I think he did have them in a jewelry box. The way they found them, they were tucked away nice. But being the late 70s, it was a lot less a time of, I'm going to go to Claire's and buy 18 pairs of earrings, and a lot more of like, my mom gave me these earrings.
The old like wooden jewelry box style.
Right. Like, they have with
the felt in it.
They have Jill carved into them. They've got my my grandma's diamond, and it was set then. And so there's a lot more. They were unique earrings. A lot of the
Also,
victims
if
were
they-
identified based on like, oh, look at all these photos of them in these earrings.
If they
And
were
families
something
remember
like,
these
hey,
earrings.
the victim was missing these earrings and the police are on the lookout for earrings, and then go through a jewelry box and they're like, hey, we've got this, but it's with like 20 other pairs of earrings. Can we see if these match any other descriptions?
That's real.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, you'd have to know what you were looking for, I feel like. You're not just going to see a box of earrings and be like,
Look at these death earrings.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just got a photo with each one, and they're in little baggies.
So another victim was 12-year-old Robin Samso. We've mentioned her name before because she's connected in some of these court trials. She was a resident of Huntington Beach, California, and she was en route to a ballet class on June 20th, 1979 when she vanished. Too many coincidences. Ballet
No
class.
way.
Samso had been raped before she was killed by being strangled. So we know his MO, right? Like,
Yeah, it seems to
rape,
be.
strangle them with whatever he can get his hands on, except for his own hands. Rodney Alcala was detained for the murder of Robin Wiki, another 12-year-old girl, in 1980, and investigators discovered in Alcala's possession a number of photographs, many of which featured girls and young women. A few of the pictures were taken near Samso's body were discovered. So they're like, this location
It's a place he's been before.
with other 12-year-old girls.
Yeah.
Police discovered a startling resemblance between Alcala's photos and the composite sketch of the murder suspect when they compared them. Samso's murder and the murder of 3 young women were eventually charged against and ultimately proven to be crimes committed by Alcala in 1980. He received multiple death sentences as a result of the case, which rose to prominence as one of the most publicized serial killer cases in California history. Alcala is on death row now, despite his numerous appeals, and a 1980 trial was highly publicized and became one of the most notorious serial killer trials of all time. He was charged with the murders of the 4 young women, Jill Barcombe, Charlotte Lamb, Jill P., and Robin Samso. The prosecution presented a wealth of evidence against Alcala, including DNA and forensic evidence, eyewitness testimony, and photographs that Alcala had taken of some of the victims. They argued that Alcala had a pattern of luring young women and girls with the promise of photography and opportunities to be models, and then sexually assaulting and killing them. Alcala, who represented himself at the trial, fuck. I just gave away the next answer. So you've only got 2, buddy. Proofreading, Jesse. God damn it. Despite Alcala's efforts to defend himself, the jury found him guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to death for each of the 4 murders, and his sentence was upheld in an appeal. Initially, his 1980 trial was notable for for not only his heinous nature of his crimes, but also for his lawyer. Guys, guess who his lawyer was? Was it A, Johnny Cochran, B, Gloria Allred, C, Jerry Spence, or D, himself? I'll let you say these ones out loud, guys. Who do you think it was?
Himself.
Johnny
All right.
Cochran.
All right, give Greg two. I'm just
Rab.
kidding. Yeah, 250
Rab
points to
himself.
them both.
You guys want to take the points on that?
Yes.
Feel good about that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Taking it.
Let's
Okay,
rack
just
this
checking.
board up.
Yeah, it's not their fault. That's my fault.
I mean,
I was like in the middle of the sentence going, fuck.
fuck, I thought I looked like that rock.
What's funny is I know for a fact I deleted like a whole paragraph about him defending himself. And I was probably like, yeah, I got it all. Like, didn't even bother. Fucking stupid asshole. God
All
damn
right,
it.
the score remains 1250 to 1250. It's tied up.
2 questions remaining. We're very close to the end here, guys.
Whoa.
We're very close. The fact that he represented himself at trial, and his trial, that's why it was big. Yeah, okay. And the trial, his evidence presented against him helped to establish him as one of California's most notorious serial killers. On appeal, Rodney Alcala's conviction for the 1979 murder of 12-year-old Robin Samso was overturned in 1986. The prosecutor in the case improperly introduced evidence of Alcala's prior criminal convictions, and the court found this bias in the jury against him.
So they broke that law that says you can't use, because we've talked about this in a
Right.
couple of other episodes. There's like a law that says you
In
can't
a lot of
use-
states, not all states do it, but yes.
you can't use somebody else's prior crimes as evidence of their character. You can only use them to show that they know
they have knowledge of like how to use a 22 rifle,
right?
or,
yeah.
I can prove my client knows how to use the defendant knows how to use a 22 rifle because 6 years ago he was on trial for shooting somebody with it, and he demonstrated that he was a marksman, but he didn't do it, and he was acquitted.
But you can't be like, this bad man over here raped an 8-year-old girl once. You have to just leave it all out if it doesn't have any relevance to the current. Yeah,
And
I
then
like that.
and then
I disagree.
and then
Use it all.
improperly introducing evidence, like just putting
and
it out
that's
there in
what when we
front of
talked
everybody,
about
'cause
all of these like technicalities that he got off. It's shit like this.
because they
So
tell
aggravating.
These
they
are
tell
the
the jury,
reasons.
forget what you heard, but the jury's already heard it.
Yeah.
So there's lawyers who do stuff like that intentionally and get away with it because they'll be like, strike that.
Yep.
Like, never mind.
So
I rest.
Alcala was consequently given permission to retry, which was done in 1989. Once more, the prosecution presented a plethora of evidence against Alcala, forensic evidence, eyewitness evidence, and pictures that Alcala had taken some of his victims. Like, there's a lot of shit besides
Yeah.
what we talked about. This time, however, the defense team of Alcala was able to mount a stronger defense, and the jury was unable to render a decision. So, a mistrial. In 2003, Alcala was tried a third time, and this time the prosecution made a compelling case against him. Prosecutors filed a motion in 2003 to combine the Samso charges with those of the 4 recently discovered victims. Alcala's lawyers disputed it. One of them said, quote, "If you're a juror and you hear one murder case, you may be able to have reasonable doubt." Pretty much saying like, yeah, if you hear, that he killed one person, you can be like, maybe he didn't. But if you're there to judge whether he killed 5 people, you're likely going into it automatically being like,
Well, he killed at least
who
one.
the fuck? Yeah. Who are we dealing with here? So it is difficult to say if you have reasonable doubt on all 5, especially when the 4 or 5 aren't even allegedly eyewitnesses but are proven by DNA matches. The California Supreme Court upheld the prosecution's claim that in 2006, Alcala's trial on the 5 combined charges began in February of 2010. Alcala decided to once again represent himself in the third trial and stood up in his own defense and played both witness and interrogator for 5 hours, addressing himself as Mr. Alcala in a deeper than usual voice and then responding to them in his normal voice. He questioned himself for 5 hours.
I
He
like to
talked
think,
to himself for 5
I
hours.
like
All
to
right,
think that
Mr.
he-
Alcala, I want to ask you where you were the night of July 9th, 1977. Well, yeah, I
And
do
then he
remember
runs
that.
around to the other side and sits down and answers, and then gets up and runs back to the other side and holds up a fake mustache. And
What a fucking psycho. Dude.
what are you talking about, dude?
5 hours of questioning.
They say a man who represents himself in trial has a fool for a client.
Is what they say.
Wise
But I mean,
words.
you got to think how much of it was him actually talking and how much of it was just running back and forth.
Yeah. I don't know that there was any actual running back and forth taking place, but I do
He
like
just
Greg.
kept sliding from seat to seat and facing himself.
He does it like everybody does on a TikTok. He just like puts a hat on.
A rag on his head.
Yeah, a paper towel.
Yeah, just a towel laying
Because
on
it's
their
a
head.
lady.
Yeah.
Or you can you hold up the mirror, please?
So he stood as his own defense.
Wait, hold on. I got one more. Do you think at any point he was like, objection, treating the witness as hostile?
Sustained. Mr. Alcala, stop treating Mr. Alcala poorly.
The judge is just over there.
So during this round of questions and answers, he admitted to the jury, often in a rambling monotone, that he was at Knott's Berry Farm at the time Samso was abducted, and in order to apply for a job as a photographer. So I couldn't have abducted her. I was trying to become a photographer at Knott's Berry Farm. Which is also
You guys know Knott's Berry Farm, right? That place is amazing. You just go off on a tangent.
You've
How
never
could
been
somebody
there?
that wants to work there really do all of these awful things?
I mean, have you tried their churros?
I mean, that's amazing. Got
They
the
do the little liquid cinnamon center on all of them? Jesus.
their peanut
fuck.
section is just out of this world.
Now you want to talk illegal.
There's the 5 hours.
So in an effort to establish that these earrings that they had discovered in a Seattle locker belonged to him and not Samso, he played a clip from a 1978 appearance on the dating game for the jury. And essentially he was not wearing earrings in the dating game, but he was like trying to be like, oh, right there, you see that? Like, oh, there's a glint on my ear. Like, he's like playing a tape of him not wearing earrings, trying to be like, no, look, I'm wearing earrings.
So bad.
I mean,
When it's for your life, what are you going to
it's
do?
a pretty
Yeah.
bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, let's see how it plays out.
Cut to R. Kelly. I'm fighting for my life out here.
Yeah.
Jed Mills, the actor who competed against Alcala on the show, revealed to a reporter later that the earrings were not yet socially really acceptable for a man in 1978, and he would have fucking damn well remembered if Rodney Alcala were wearing any that day. And he's like, he wasn't fucking wearing any. He remarked, I had never seen a man with an earring in his ear. On him, I would have definitely seen them. Like, yeah, this motherfucker.
There's no way I'm
stood out.
losing to a guy with an earring.
Yeah. I think he was kind of just making fun of Rodney, like, as a whole. And if he had been wearing earrings, it would have only been worse.
I feel like that's a solid bet, though.
Yeah.
Make fun of Rodney Alcala all you want.
So his only significant defense was the four additional charges. Against the four additional charges was that he could not recall killing any of the women.
Could
Just
not
so many.
recall. Listen, look. I've done a lot of things. Don't remember most of them.
Yeah. So I meant to look up this song, but I didn't. Greg, maybe you could play it for us. We'll have to take it out, I know. But he played the Arlo Guthrie song, Alice's Restaurant, in which the main character declares his desire to kill as part of his closing statement. Give us a little Arlo Guthrie.
Whoa. What is this, 18 and a half minutes?
Oh, shit. So, okay.
This is a fucking 18 and a half minute song.
Sometimes those stories are like that. So that's how you
hold
get
on.
to 5 hours.
What
Yeah,
did he
there-
use this for?
His closing statement. He
This is
played
my-
this song during his closing
18
statement.
and a half
This
minutes.
is my closing
He's like,
statement.
see? There you go.
Everybody sit back and
There you
let's just feel this one.
Let's just vibe.
Yeah, we don't have to actually listen to it. But apparently
I'm-
the song is about a main character declares a desire to kill.
And it's live, too. So.
Yeah, it's,
Oh, God.
Oh, you know it's bad.
I feel like that's it's
Like, if you
Probably
didn't hate
a fun-
Rodney
not only the
Alcala
lyrics, but like I'm
before-
sure it's if not blatantly racist, it's probably got tones to it already.
I feel like if you paid to go see Arlo Guthrie in concert and he pulled out an 18 and a half minute song,
That's when I go
you
like...
got your money's
There
worth.
That's
it
when I
is.
go grab a pretzel and a Bud Light. Bud Light, send us free stuff. Okay, so the
wear
jury
the hat.
found him guilty on all 5 counts. No way. Of the murder after less than 2 days of deliberation. There was a shocking surprise witness at his trial. Question number 13. Who was it? Sammy Davis Jr., his mother, Tally Shapiro, or the mayor of Los Angeles, Thomas Bradley?
When you say his mother, Rodney Alcala's mother or Sammy Davis Jr.'s mother?
Rodney Alcala's mother.
Okay.
Sammy Davis Jr. is just one of the options.
Right.
Godfather of...
Right. Well, I didn't
one
know
of
if
the
that
victims.
was
Yeah.
if like
No. Yeah, sorry. Sammy Davis Jr., his mother, Tally Shapiro, mayor of Los Angeles, Thomas Bradley. It's getting down to the wire, guys. This could be huge.
1250.
And the next one is a closest to the answer gets the points.
So somebody's scoring.
Yee.
You guys both got it? Nope. Courtney's
Oh,
going here.
sorry.
Okay, no, you're fine.
I'll
You're
say,
fine.
okay,
You're good.
I got it. I'm good.
Okay, John, what'd you say? Who showed up as a surprise
I
witness?
think Sammy came in.
Sammy Davis Jr., the Godfather.
Real swinging cat.
Oh. I said his mom.
His mother. The surprise witness was Tally Shapiro, Alcala's first identified victim, the 8-year-old girl that he beat and raped. She showed up as an adult and was a surprise witness for the defense
I
against
remember
Rodney
she
Alcala.
had been killed, so then
Yeah,
I thought that
yeah.
was a trick answer because I almost said her and I was like, wait, is she
That's-
dead?
That's
Dang it.
That's a lot,
Crazy, dude.
right?
That's wild.
Good for her. I mean,
Yeah.
So she was a surprise witness for the defense, and psychiatrist Richard Rappaport claimed
fuck, I'm
that-
surprised.
Yeah. Psychiatrist Richard Rappaport claimed that the borderline personality disorder could account for Rodney Alcala's claims that he had no recollection of the murder, like another personality committed the murders. Not
Like
Oh,
that,
like his
like
old
that
boy
movie
that-
with Professor X.
Yeah, sure.
Well, old boy that was living in New York. That's his other
John Berger.
Yeah, old Burger Boy.
Yeah. Oh, Burger Boy.
Old Burger Boy.
So Alcala was described as, quote, a sexual predator who, quote, knew what he was doing and that it was wrong and didn't care, according to the prosecutors. Alcala received a third death sentence in March of 2010, and authorities in New York declared after Alcala's 2010 conviction that they would no longer pursue him due to the fact that he had been convicted and is a death row inmate. But Manhattan grand jury indicted him on January of 2011 for the murders of Eileen Hover and Cornelia Crilly, the TWA flight attendant, in 1971 and 1977, respectively. So New York was first like, fuck it, he's, but Manhattan grand jury was like, no, Fuck that. Extradite that bitch. We want to put him on trial.
We want our percentage.
So, let's see. He was extradited to New York in June of 2012, where he initially pleaded not guilty to both charges. In order to pursue his appeals against his death penalty conviction, he returned to California in December of 2012 and changed both of his pleas from not guilty to guilty. So he first went and was like, I'm not guilty. And they were like, hey, you can't appeal in California if you're fucking fighting a case in New York. And then he's like, okay, I'm guilty. So, because there is no death penalty in New York. So he's like, fuck it, I'm guilty.
There's
yeah,
not
sure.
one in California anymore either.
Yeah, there is. They just don't kill anybody.
Oh, I thought they didn't have it.
No,
it
it's
still
there.
exists. They just don't really kill anyone.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, you can still get it.
when did they get rid of it?
That was one of the stories recently where, for the Tulare shootings, and they were appealing to Newsom.
You're right.
If you're using
we
the show for
apply-
research,
Can
don't.
we apply the death penalty for this case?
when was the last time California executed somebody anyway? It's been 20 years, hasn't it?
Death penalty in the state constitution, ending the Anderson ruling.
Wasn't there a girl they just killed?
There was one after
that
that
ruling,
one
there have been
too,
13
and
executions,
they
yet hundreds
asked
of inmates have been
Newsom
sentenced.
if he could
I don't know.
overturn it.
I don't
Yeah, they still have it. It looks like.
Yeah, I'm pretty
It's
sure
still there. They just don't use it.
Right.
Well, because they were using the drugs from, was it Finland and then the drug makers there were like, yo, morally,
You're
Yeah, we don't
doing
wanna do
what
this.
with our
yeah,
drugs?
Yeah,
we
yeah, 'cause
can't
it
allow
wasn't-
you to do that anymore.
like, that's
it
not
wasn't
even what the
like this
drug's
is what
for.
we're manufacturing them for. It's-
Yeah, they were like, yeah, but when you mix it with this one and this one, they're like, that'll kill somebody.
So basically, California lost their like main way that they thought was the humane
sounds
way to into human life. So now they don't have a way to do that. So let's see. On January 7th, 2013, the Manhattan judge gave Alcala a further 25 years to life in prison. Since 2007, New York State has prohibited the use of the death penalty. Question number 14. What's the score, Greg?
It's 1250. We're tied up.
Oh, shoot.
So
The closest to this answer will be the winner.
This is for all the marbles. There will be no artistic challenge unless you somehow answer the same.
And this
Equal
is why there
distances
will
from the
also
answer?
be no pay-per-view fight against myself and Rodney Alcala, because in question number 14, I ask you, in what year did Rodney Alcala die? And still alive, won't be. It's not an option unless I give you multiple choice. He's dead. What year did he die?
Oh, there's no multiple choice.
Nope.
though? Okay.
Closest to the answer is going to get 250 points and be the winner unless you guys somehow select the same year, which it wasn't for a tie. We had two people guess the same exact year. A couple shy and Danae, right? Did that. Yep.
What did you guess?
15.
Oh, I said 17.
Okay.
So unless it's 16.
Well, if it's 16, 15 gets it because we go
Oh,
prices
Price
right.
is
and
Right.
rules
Over.
win.
Give Courtney 250 points
yeah.
because Rodney Alcala died in prison on death row in 2021.
Okay.
Oh wow,
well,
that was recent.
Yeah.
Super reason.
Yeah. And fun fact, Greg,
Yeah.
the last time we covered Rodney Alcala,
He was still
he
alive.
was still alive.
Yeah.
wild.
So we got
could
a
have
new,
listened.
better ending to the story. He is dead now.
Dead motherfucker.
He gone.
So congratulations, Courtney. You
Thank
are
you.
the victor.
Way to go.
Let's give you your prize. There you go.
My nothing?
I
got my
that was
nothing.
it. There you go.
Don't drop it on the way out.
Anything
try,
you'd
be
like to
careful.
say? You want to take a victory lap?
Nope, but thanks.
Perfect. Absolutely. Well, you've done wonderful here today. Great job. Great job. That's it for Rodney Alcala, guys. Make sure you check us out on all the social media grams. We're out there. We're doing the thing. We're trying to be more active. We're trying to do more of what we think you love.
Yeah.
Or whatever that.
Talk to us. Tell us about it.
Yeah, and that's true. Like, tell us what you guys like. Tell us what you're enjoying about what you're seeing, because it helps us produce more of that content.
If there's something you don't like, you could tell us, but don't be a dick about it.
Yeah, or just fuck off.
Show us your podcast.
Join the Discord, guys. That's the community. If you're in the Discord, if you used to be in the Facebook group, this is that on steroids. It is so much better. It is so much more detailed. It's so much more easily accessed. Honestly, if you are overwhelmed by just learning a new app, we have a help page on the Discord, and we have a mod squad in the Discord who's specifically there pretty much 24 hours a day.
Somebody's almost always online.
Yeah, exactly, to help you learn how to use it. So if you want to jump on, and because when you first, I'm just going to jump into Discord a little bit here because we don't do this a lot, and I feel like we're getting a couple people per week come in, but I feel like some people are still a little wary. If you look it up, Discord is used widely, you guys. This is the new place. It's essentially a group chat.
It's like a more effective version of like Zoom and Facebook combined.
Yes. Because in the Discord, once you join, the only thing you'll be able to see is the rules and help. So if you can't figure out the rules, just you read the rules, you click a button, you get your role, you can see the rest of the page. But you got to read the rules first. Make sure you're not a fucking asshole. If you can't figure it out from there, it's not a problem. Go to the help. We'll help you figure out what you need to do. Sometimes you click the button twice and you just gave yourself the role and you took it away. Doesn't matter. We'll help you. But after you get in there, guys, there's true crime, there's food, there's books, there's movies, there's sports, there's
Yesterday
video
there was a
games,
conversation about tattoos and
I mean, we get together
last
and we
week
watch,
there was pets.
Yeah, we get together and we watch movies together because I'll stream a movie in the Discord. You can watch it from your phone. You just click, you can watch the movie and be voice chatting with us. So we'll kind of Mystery Science Theater 3000 that shit sometimes and watch a really bad movie and just talk shit on it. So we just hang out and play video games. We had like probably 12 of us in a group chat the other night playing Pummel Party. Only like 6 of us were playing the game.
Damn, dude,
the rest of people were just hanging out.
Giggle fit that night.
Well, we were both talking about the next day how our cheeks and our abs were like.
Yeah, I was
we were just
I sat up
so
the next
much.
morning and was like, oh, I felt like I did 1,000 sit-ups. Like,
Best way to work out.
yeah,
Yeah.
laughed so hard.
So not to dive too deep into Discord, but if you're somebody who's been listening and been thinking about it and like wanting to like link up with the community in a way, because like, yeah, Instagram is there and we're mildly active. Same with TikTok. But other than that, the only place to find us is Discord, and that is, we are the most active there. If you want to like have a conversation with Hella Greg, you jump into whatever channel and you tag at Hella Greg and ask him that question. I bet you within 24 hours Hella Greg has answered that question. It's not so big that we can't still be active in every part and every facet of it. So that's what's kind of exciting about it. But that's a lot about Discord. Just join it, guys. Hey, come hang out if you want. If you're not watching this, you can. There's cameras in the studio. You can come be disappointed by what I look like. It's a very popular thing to do these days. Threadless store for your soft goods. There are new stickers and keychains available at serialchillerspod.com. Patreon, if you guys want to give monthly. If you don't want to give monthly, you're not into that. Hey, fuck you guys. I don't feel like giving you money every single month. You want to give us $10 once. We have a donation page. You can do that too. Everything is helpful. Even the $1 a month. Seriously, it adds up. So we appreciate you guys. Serialchillerspod.com. That's everything. Hello, Greg. What would you like to say to end the show, my guy?
Lonelyfans.com with 2 Z's.
Yep. Greg owns it, and it's a thing. So, Courtney, John, anything you guys want to say on the way out here?
No.
Nope. This was fun.
Pretty good.
A little short and sweet for the champion here
Yep.
tonight. I like that. Well, congratulations. I'm glad that you also won, John, by proxy, because you said that at the beginning of the show. I like that you said that. So that way, even if you won, you could be like, babe, you could have part of my win. No problem. So and you're a fucking awesome guy no matter what. So you guys both won tonight, and I appreciate that. Courtney's the real winner. But I had a lot of fun. Thank you guys, again, for doing this on short notice, too. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, if there's nothing else, then for John, for Courtney, for Hella Greg, I'm Cromulent Jesse, and remember, don't talk to strangers. Okay, bye.